Paul Scholes looked absolutely pathetic in his most recent outburst. We're looking at how Arsenal have broken Manchester City and turned them in to everything they used to despise. It's a thing of beauty. Plus, we look at Chelsea, who, for me, seemed to have turned a corner last night. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Closing in on 100,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely phenomenal. So thank you to each and every single one of you that has made that happen. Let's do this. Now, for years, there was a percentage, a small percentage, but a very loud percentage of Arsenal fans who would push this narrative that the FA, the Premier League, the PGMOL did not want them to win the league. Now, we used to call them the tinfoil hat brigade, crazy, conspiracy theorists. Do they believe in flat earth? The lizards run the world? We used to make fun of them because it was, for me, it was an exaggeration. I do believe, just for anyone that's new to my content, that some referees can hold a grudge. Why? Because many ex-referees have stated they've held grudges. You've only got to look at the recent David Coote scenario and his personal feelings toward Klopp to understand that some of these referees will hold these grudges. That's fair. But the conspiracy theory element was laughed at. And what Manchester City fans, along with supporters of other clubs, would do on a regular occurrence to Arsenal fans is say, stop being weak. Stop being babies. Stop pointing fingers elsewhere and take accountability. Take accountability and push for your team to defend better, to play better, to score more goals, and to win more games. Now, balanced people like myself would always say that's fair that they have to improve, but we can't ignore bad decisions. Bad decisions should always be called out in any direction they go in. Totally agree. And I've done that for City on this season. But what City fans are now doing, which I do find beautiful, brilliant, and funny, I saw this from Liverpool supporters many a year ago. So between sort of 2018 and 2022, that was when you saw social media, fan content explode. I think that the United Stand and AFTV were a massive component in that with the fan cams when both Arsenal and Man United were struggling. United still are struggling from where we want to be. But there was this explosion, and it was a lot of ranting, a lot of raving, and a lot of anger. And I remember talking to a lot of Liverpool content creators who said at the time, you'll never see Liverpool fans online ranting. You'll never see Liverpool fans online talking about their manager, their players. We don't do that. And I said to them at the time, you will when things start to go wrong. Not all of you, because not every Man United fan went on camera and ranted and raved. Not every Arsenal fan. Some were supportive, even in the dark times. But I went, you will have fans that do it. No chance, not us. We're not like you. City fans have done the same thing. We will never blame refs. We'll never call out corruption. We'll never say anybody's out to get us. And it's very easy on top of your Ivy Tower when you're winning, when you've got the best team, especially when you're not in control. Because fans, yes, I think we can help influence things our club do, but day to day, we have no control over how good our players are, how good the coaching is, and how we set up on the day. We are watching. We're supporting, but we're watching. We're not better to help them in terms of in the ground, cheering, stop, trying to stop the nerves getting too much. But as a general rule, we're not Pep. We're not the coaching team. We can't implement. We can't implement anything in that way. We don't have much direct involvement as a manager for anyone who's trying to debate that point. But what I find really interesting is when things start to go wrong, just like we saw Liverpool fans rant and rave online when they had bad seasons, when things went wrong, when FSG didn't spend. This season is a great example. You're now seeing Man City fans do very similar. And yesterday, maybe one of the biggest Man City fans sort of on the social media platforms, Luke, says, wouldn't it be refreshing? Wouldn't mind a referee. I don't know why I said refreshing. I just misread that in front of me. Sorry. He says, I wouldn't mind a refereeing decision going our way at some point this season. To which I pointed out, Foden should have got a red card based on other very similar decisions. You were lucky to not concede a handball against Leeds. Gay should have been sent off against Liverpool. I think they were 1-0 up at the time as he goes into the box. Should have been a penalty too because he's still fouling him as he enters the box. Bernardo Silva against Newcastle very easily could have seen a second yellow that would have seen him sent off in a game. Would they have got all 3 points in that match? The answer is no. So first and foremost, just as I said to Arsenal fans way back when, the idea that nothing goes in your favour isn't true. I remember not last season's red cards, 2 or 3 seasons before that, there were a lot of red cards. And they tried, they just send our players off for no reason. And there were a couple that were dubious. There were a lot of red cards, like a lot of Xhakas, that were correct red cards. And there's no playing that down. At the same time, somebody then responded with this to my post going, you can use images of bad decisions, and ultimately we've had far more go against us. That Nunez one is bollocks because he pushed in the head with 2 hands as the ball comes across. He wasn't pushed in it wasn't. That just isn't true. And Gahey one isn't a red. Care to explain these? Look, I think the tackle on Dorgu could have been a red. I think that the Foden one, I believe they should all be penalties, but they're rarely given. We saw last night another one against City not given. We've seen Isak's leg get broken and no punishment for Van de Ven. They allow these blocks to happen. I don't like the rule, but the only penalty that's been given in that circumstance this year was against Manchester United, Harry Maguire. Again, people forget that when they say we get all the decisions go in our favour. That isn't strictly true. Yes, City have had decisions go against them. But the idea that nothing goes their way is a huge fabrication. And you can tell it's breaking City fans. One, with how they're behaving online, but you're also seeing it from their players as well.
The dressing room, it was a very frantic ending to the match. You know, there was a couple of penalty claims in there. How is everyone feeling about the way some of the decisions unfolded?
Well, I would say that we're quite used to it this season because all the 50-50s have gone against us.
It's not true. But we all have a habit to do this as people. All the things that go our way, we kind of forget in life. All the good fortune we have, all the good luck we have, all the near misses that go our way, we forget about them. It's only when things go against us. We all do this. It's every one of us. Oh, poor me. What I love about this is the fact that City fans are now realizing what it's like to be a little bit more mortal in this footballing sense, and they better get used to it. And I mean this with all due respect. It's actually a compliment to Pep. When Pep leaves, you may never be as good as he had you again. Why? Because Pep's part of a group of managers, top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5 of all time. You guys think he's number 1, which makes my point even more excruciatingly accurate. The likelihood of somebody else being as good as him and getting that level of consistency out of your next team, your next 10 teams, your next 20 teams is almost impossible. Not in the competitiveness of the English league. So get used to being more mortal.
It's the reality. I've just watched, for example, the Erling incident, and for me, it's a penalty. It is what it is.
See, I watched the Erling Haaland one back in real time. I couldn't believe it wasn't given. But when you actually look at it, and again, this is where I think VAR is meant to do its job. Erling Haaland, the goalkeeper pulls out, and then Erling Haaland deliberately changes the direction of his body and puts his foot into the goalkeeper to initiate the foul. It isn't a penalty. It isn't a penalty. And I thought that was one of the best. And the referee saw that in real time. He saw that Haaland deliberately made sure there was contact after the goalkeeper pulled his arms away. And for me, that's simulation. And I think it was the correct decision not to give the penalty. Some of you are going to agree with me. Some of you are going to disagree with me. But Bernardo Silva and City fans, Arsenal have broken them. It is as simple and as straightforward as that. His actual words after the Liverpool win were, if we didn't win today, we knew the league title race was over. We were finished. They've been teetering on the edge. And this is why I'm so surprised so many people have backed them to catch Arsenal when the way they're talking, the way they're behaving doesn't sound like the champions of before. But as ever, look, I want to get your views. I want to get your opinions on this in that comment section below. Now, Paul Scholes, I want to speak on Scholesy because again, I have so much time and love and respect for this man, for what he did for my football club. I love the geezer. But he comes out last night with a scathing attack on Michael Carrick. So Michael Carrick is definitely definitely got something special. United have been crap for the past 4 games night. Now, some people agree with Paul Scholes. Some people think Scholes is speaking facts. Some people think Scholes is correct, that we have been pathetic for the past 4 games and we should be called out and our fans should be angry and we should be we shouldn't be in a good place. Where I feel that is an exaggeration. looking back at those 4 games, when people say we've been crap, I suppose it's more the framing of it. So have we been amazing? No. But why are people so surprised? Why are people so surprised that we haven't been swashbuckling and amazing? This is an average to good squad. But we always seem to lose sight of this when we sack a manager, especially if we start well. We did the same thing when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in. A lot of us looked at that squad and said, it was a better squad than we've got right now. I think overall back then, more speed, more power in it. More, I think higher quality right across the board. But we still knew it needed to be improved massively to compete. Ole comes in, we start winning. Everybody goes, see, look at this squad. I knew it was Jose's fault. And then you start to level out and you see all the bad quality and then a lot of people, instead of going, you know what, the squad maybe was a bit average, we almost instantly turn straight back on the manager. And Carrick has certainly made some mistakes. And there's certainly areas that he needs to be challenged on. And most Man United fans, including myself, are not sure whether he's good enough to coach us long term. And yes, some Man United fans have got a little bit carried away with some of the victories we've had. But the reason why a lot of Man United fans are like backing Carrick publicly is the amount of people that were angry that he got the job. And I feel it's a little bit pathetic from Paul Scholes, because I don't think this is about being an honest pundit. I don't think this is about I'm doing this for the betterment of Man United. I think there's a bitterness because he's not involved. I think it's a bitterness because, rightly or wrongly, they're not requested that he is part of the football club. And that's all this really sort of comes down to for me. Like going after Michael Carrick like that online, what's it about? Is it bitterness? Is it jealousy? Is it about getting more brand deals for your new podcast? It's worth probably millions of pounds a year for all the views that you get. And it just feels over the top. Doesn't mean you shouldn't criticize the team. But, you know, we were the better team against West Ham. We should have just started the game with Šeško. We missed a number of chances in the game. When we played Everton away, they barely did anything against us. And again, missed some chances, scored a goal. Against Crystal Palace, I did think the first half was poor. But we came on in the second half much better, went on to win the game. Newcastle United is a very hard place for us to go. They started well. We had ample chances, though, before and after the red card to win it, and the players missed. And everyone's just going straight in on the manager. And I'm just not a fan of that. And I feel that what Carrick needs is an arm around the shoulder and support from us. Yes, at times support means criticizing, but I just think we're going over the top. And this is all for me about people trying to prove their points right. It's their egos talking. I knew this guy weren't good enough. I wanted someone different. The Rimmers are out. The Rimmers are just going crazy right now. They've been clucking for this for weeks and what feels like months, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. And there was this comment here that says it's because I tweeted earlier on today that we've got to be more balanced and getting rid of Amorim was right, but sacking him wasn't going to fix us. And you guys remember me talking about this. Sacking Amorim was right, but sacking him by itself wasn't going to fix us. Getting a few extra new players wasn't going to fix us. Freeing Kobbie Mainoo wasn't going to fix us. And he says here that that's not the narrative that was spun by this fan base, though. Amorim was the problem. Carrick is supposedly a better manager. The players need to play with a back four. Mainoo needs to play. We'd be challenging for the title with Carrick. That's why you see these discussions. The problem is but there is both these groups fight each other and they're as polarized as one another, but they're all wrong. But they're a minority. The issue then is you get a couple of big platforms, you get the mainstream media that pulls on these polarizations and makes talking points, and then everyone in the middle is going, "Hang on, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe being balanced is the wrong thing to be when it isn't." None of those statements are true. They weren't at the time and they weren't after. But the reverse of them, fighting back against them and then attacking those individuals, is also wrong. None of that helps the club. But you're being suckered in by some of the big content creators that the only way people watch them is if they're polarized. They cannot get views by being honest and balanced and normal. They can't do it. But don't be suckered in by it. And then the media copies them. And it's jarring because what we need to do is come together here. I also want to speak a bit on Chelsea today as well, because I thought they were fantastic last night. And we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into them on the Football Terrace tomorrow when we do Straight Facts in the afternoon, because the response from the Arsenal game, I think, was just absolutely brilliant. They were out of this world last night. Yes, they started a little slowly. Yes, they conceded. But the attacking football was some of the best I've seen all season from any club. And once they scored that first goal, they looked better and better and better. A little fortuitous with an offside for Ollie Watkins. but they just went for it. And they ripped Aston Villa apart. They probably should have scored 6, 7, 8 goals. They were amazing. And what a response, because they needed it. Those 3 games without a win, with Man United winning, with Liverpool winning, left a bit of a gap for them in Champions League qualification. And performance, I know winning is all that matters, but when you're an inconsistent team like United, like Liverpool, like Chelsea have been, you need performances and you need to be the better team in games if you truly want to win enough matches. And although United haven't been completely dominant in all of our last 4 games, we have been the better team in them, especially defensively. And I felt that the longer the game went on, the stronger they looked defensively, considering Villa were throwing the absolute kitchen sink at it. But it was in the attack. João Pedro, out of this world. João Pedro just absolutely phenomenal. That's how I describe him. Absolutely phenomenal he was on every level. He's finishing, his movement. They must have been working on his movement in training. They have to have been focusing on making him behave more like a number 9, because I think movement can be taught. Instinct can be taught. And some people go, no way, Terry. Well, it can. Go and join a good quality kickboxing or boxing or even just a self-defense class and do it religiously, and suddenly you'll develop new instincts. You developed a new instinct of how to behave in dangerous situations. How do I know that? I did martial arts most of my life. When I first started, I couldn't see a punch coming. After a while, you'd develop an instinct to move and how to get out of the way. You'd even develop an instinct for when somebody was going to throw something at you. Especially when I was younger, you'd be out and about with your mates. You could sort of see these things because you were taught and trained to do it. So the idea you can't teach instinct, I think, is wrong. I think human beings do have the capability for that. And I think that João Pedro is one of them. And Palmer for me was such a standout last night. I've been really worried about him. His performances haven't been good enough and he's been rightfully criticised. But he looked a shadow of himself. But last night, I felt he grew into the game. Excellent goal. But he was just pulling the strings. I thought he was amazing. When he purrs, Chelsea purr. And they're going to need that over the next 2 or 3 games. But they've got a great opportunity now. They've got the win back in their sails. They've got a great opportunity of going on a couple of game winning run now against some tough teams. Get those victories. Get those points, secure yourself a Champions League spot, and hopefully, between us and Chelsea, we can stop Liverpool qualifying next year. That would be a nice little achievement, because I do think Villa, in fairness, I think Villa might end up falling out. They don't look particularly good at the moment. Even though United were bad last night, I want to play them. But saying Villa are bad, I don't want to take anything away from Chelsea, because I just felt they were so good. But look, as ever, I want to thank you all for tuning into the show today. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. Like, share, and subscribe, by the way, and we'll see you all soon. Peace.